At the bottom of the world, on the southern coast of New Zealand, just one crew is willing to risk it all.
You've got great white sharks, you've got 7 gillas. You never know what's going to come up behind you.
With a global industry worth almost $500 million a year,
Dollars!
there's fortunes to be made, chasing one of the world's most sought-after delicacies.
I've probably just made $600 in about an hour and a half.
The sea urchin.
But that's why they call it Spiky Gold.
For huge paydays,
Instead of 13 hours.
they're pushing the limits. Diving up to 75 feet on one breath.
I have blacked out.
It's one of the world's most dangerous professions. Mistakes can be deadly.
You've got glass on big shark, eh?
I'll go in there, pull his tail, I'll give you $20.
But these divers are some of the best
He's the best spear fisherman in New Zealand, and I'm right on his tail.
and hungriest
You got it! Got me! Big monster!
in the world.
We go hard.
What happens when you hold your breath for 5 years?
One boat, 2 teams.
Double again, will ya?
Is that f***er ahead of me?
The race is on.
This is good fun, man.
It's late Friday evening in Bluff Harbour, the southernmost port of mainland New Zealand. The crew of the San Nicolas are readying the ship for a weekend of hunting down some fat sea urchin.
Leaving Bluff, 9 o'clock-ish. Cold as, dark as, gloomy.
Skipper Dwayne Herbert had been planning to steam the vessel west towards some prime spots in Fiordland, but the weather report has changed his mind.
Yeah, it's storm warning in force with 50 knots, northwest or westerly, so anything from the west is no good for us. So we're sort of going to change tactic and head down the south side of Stewart Island and find a little tucked-in bay called the Port Pegasus, and we'll hide in there for a couple of days out of the weather.
Fovo Strait is a notoriously rough waterway that has claimed many fishing vessels over the years. 50-knot winds would make the voyage perilous.
Fovo Strait is one of the dodgiest places I've ever been in my whole career. It's sunk so many boats. Weather conditions that have just changed instantly with a click of a hand, and you just don't expect it, and it can happen at any time.
The new destination should see the San Nicolas avoid the bad weather, for now at least. The 10-hour overnight journey to Port Pegasus will take the crew down to the very southeast corner of Stewart Island. But for now, it's lights out on the San Nic. Hopefully a good sleep will have the crew rearing to go in the morning.
Oh, yeah, man. Straight away, I just roll over, put the head down, gone ski. It's got to be a bit of water rushing against the hull, though, otherwise it's no-go.
Night race, we'll see you in the morning, mate. I close my eyes, I just listen to the motor until I slowly fall asleep, and then from there she's lights out till I get woken up for watch, and then usually I don't get back to sleep after that. Ready for a bloody big day's work ahead of us. It's gonna be awesome, my G. You're gonna kill it again. Sure, my bro, killing it every day, making the money.
We had a great steam down last night, Port Pegasus. The weather's looking pretty good for us today. Boys are really keen to get in the water and make some money. Just arrived at Port Pegasus. It's a ripper of a day. I'm just chucking the dough there straight on my boat. Gonna get out of here as soon as possible. Quite excited about today actually. We're in a real good spot for diving. Generally really fat sea urchins, so hopefully it all goes well.
Always the fat urchins, man. Always here. I'm really excited for today.
Unfortunately, despite the prospect of a productive dive, it's not all roses for every crew member today.
Bit of mixed emotions. Could be my last trip today, which is a bit of a bummer. But yeah, we'll get in there, make some money and get out of here. Have a few beers.
Due to family commitments, Dion has to leave the crew and return to his home in Gisborne to work in the forestry industry.
Yeah, it's a real shame that Dion's leaving. He's been a real good morale booster to the team. Hopefully we can entice him back and get him back on the boat and part of the team again.
That's what happens when you work too hard. Just don't ever buy this brand, eh?
Filling the flippers of an experienced diver like Dion is no easy task. But young buck Storm feels his days as a dinghy boy are over and is ready to prove he can hold his own with the best of them.
Like, I love diving so much, and that's the ultimate goal at the end of the day. And you know, if I do well on this trip, hopefully my days as a dinghy boy will be finishing behind me, you know.
But to get to the top, you have to start at the bottom. And no one's prepared to make that journey easy for Storm.
I got the dinghy today. It's actually got literal in it. Mutton birds all night, not good.
It's 3 teams going out today, and as always, the competition is fierce. Team Raymond are wasting no time to get stuck into the action.
My mindset when I first jump in the water is get my 2 bins back to the boat before those other guys, always.
Right, let's rip into it.
Back on the Sand Nick though, Storm is struggling to get dressed, let alone prove he can keep up with the others.
I can't find my gear, that's what we need to find. Bloody DH is freaking hitting it.
Looking less than impressed with his crew's antics, skipper Dwayne is next away. He's an excellent diver with skills that rival Raymond's.
Most days it's game on between me and Raymond. Unfortunately, I'm feeling a little bit today. Starting to feel a bit achy and a bit fluey.
A flu will dramatically reduce Dwayne's breath hold and restrict his movement. Looks like the real competition will be between young buck Storm and Dion today.
I'd have to say there's a little bit of competitiveness. We already know Raymond's a little, you know, above our league, but yeah, out of me and Storm.
Found her. Turns out it wasn't really looking very well, but found her now, so let's go make some money.
Dion probably shouldn't be too worried. With Storm struggling to dress himself and now intent on practicing his backflips, it looks like the competition is pretty thin. Fittingly, they appeared up today and off to get the day started. Well, almost.
Turns out I am useless, left my kinner right behind. Got the weapon of mass destruction, so let's go.
Finally, all the teams are in the water, and it's game on to get back to the boat to unload first. Unsurprisingly, first out is the first back to unload. Team Raymond and Red Dog have filled 2 bins, or dolabs as they call them, and they're pretty stoked with the quality.
Pretty good start to the morning, yeah. Real fat sea urchin. Yeah, there's gangster. Ha! Those first 3 bins we got were bloody awesome, 11%, so I'm just waiting to get back out there. They could even be fatter.
The ratio of roe to shell mass is what determines the value of the sea urchin. The heavier the roe, the better. 2 full dolabs of fat sea urchin is worth some serious money. And Raymond's not shy to boast about it to his competition.
Yeah, so funny, I kicked your ass, 2 years and I caught the same. In a short... Nah, I started 10 minutes before you, but you're still It must suck for you, driver, eh?
Raymond and Red Dog are always giving, you know, the other team and whatnot. But for me, I personally want to try to be as good as him. You know, we're both like the young guys on the boat, and so I look up to him and I want to just work as hard as him, if not better, you know, one day.
Despite the sledging, Dion and Storm are pretty happy with their first effort.
Raymond's been breaking in urchin. That's why he's doing well. We're just going in the shallows, getting this real good fat stuff, so we make a lot of money.
No, they're not great, but yeah, probably better than Raymond's anyway. First time really diving in this spot, and it's off to a pretty decent start, but hopefully the afternoon can be a bit better, really.
In the right conditions, a good diver can pull in over 3 tons of sea urchin in a day to a value in excess of $2,000. 16-year-old Storm isn't quite at that level yet, but even half that number would see him earning a higher salary than his teachers at high school.
I feel pretty privileged, you know, I'm 16 years old and I'm making, if not more than what my teachers are making, so it makes school pretty good, just, you know, proves that education isn't everything, like they kind of about university and stuff, but Mate, I'm out here doing this at 16 and I'm having a great time.
But of course, there is a catch to why this is such a lucrative career. Commercial diving is one of the most hazardous occupations in the world, and Dion and Storm are about to find out why. At the southern tip of Stewart Island, the crew of the San Nicolas are on the prowl for sea urchin.
Always the fat urchin here. Really excited for today.
As always, the competition is brutal.
So funny, I kicked your ass, eh? 2 years and I caught the same.
But Team Raymond are firmly in the lead.
2 big ones and they got 3 small, so we're caning them.
Dion is on his last trip with the crew before he has to return to his home in Gisborne.
That's what happens when you work too hard.
He's teamed up with Storm today, and they're hoping to make his last dive a fruitful one.
Got the weapon of mass destruction, so let's go.
But unfortunately, they're not alone.
I've never seen a shark until a couple of trips ago. We'd seen 7 gillas everywhere, and today I'd probably seen the same 7 gilla 3 times and kept coming up and bugging me. It's kind of like a first every time you see them, mate. Yeah, you still get a shock.
7-gill sharks can be aggressive if provoked, and these guys certainly aren't shy.
There would have been easily a dozen there, eh? Like it was crazy. I've never seen so many sharks in one spot. There was this one big one, man. It was like probably 3 meters long. It was just awesome.
And the last voyage was no exception, when skipper Dwayne was forced into an executive decision.
This one here was getting quite boisterous towards Timmy and coming in quite hot, so we didn't really have much choice.
Got to put the boys' safety first.
Such extreme measures only need to be taken in desperate times. And the way these predators of the deep are showing interest in Storm and Dion, the moment may be upon them to get out of there.
Yeah, it's pretty distracting having like a whole dozen sharks, you know, cruising around, and you know, you see their mouths come out of the water and you're just trying to focus on work. You can't.
But youthful exuberance prevails, and with a pat on the back, Storm sends these shark-toothed cruisers on their way. As the crew work into the afternoon, the sunny skies have been replaced with grey cloud, strong winds and rain.
As a diver in poor conditions is horrible. We have to compete with real good swell, so when we're down there, we're getting pushed around a lot, we're getting blown all over the show. And when we come up as well, the dinghy boy is also getting blown all over the show.
It's one of those days where you just hate being a dinghy boy, bro. You're just sitting in the dinghy, just waiting for that next kit, man, and suffering in the wind. But hey, you do what you got to do for $1.
With competition rife, the teams race back to the San Nic to get pole position to unload for the second time. Team Ray and Red Dog win the race, but Raymond is starting to show signs of tiring in the testing conditions.
Oh, is it okay, eh? It's real scratchy, it's real shitty. I've been drinking a ton of piss the last week and I'm really feeling it, like it's horrible. And I just can't hold my breath. Pretty rough out there. Pretty.
It probably doesn't help that Raymond is opting to breathe through his snorkel even while he's out of the water.
Number 1, it looks real cool. Number 2, I don't want to take my mask off my face. And number 3, I can't be taking my snorkel out of my mouth. So there you go.
Red Dog and Raymond are firmly in the lead. That's 4 doe-labs in the hold and plenty of daylight remaining. On top of that, they have a few tricks up their sleeve for the afternoon.
We got a secret we posse we go and do. Me and him both know it. We've both been there a few times, so got to slay it, man. So yeah, we're gonna go in here. We've been all around here. Me and Raymond have got this wee cheeky wee spot right up in here. Yeah. Right in and around these nuggets.
The doggy and razor hot spot.
Yeah, all around in there. It's loaded. But this bit in here, it's just quite really well known for sea lions. Like they're everywhere. They're quite aggressive.
Yeah. Male sea lions can grow to be up to 3.5 meters in length and weigh as much as 450 kilograms. They are extremely territorial and not shy to make their presence known if they feel you're intruding.
I was diving away in a group of about 10 or 11 coming, and they were just circling me and blowing bubbles in my face. They showing their teeth, huge canines, like a dog. Yeah, you wouldn't want to get bitten by that. You get some diseases, all right.
We just tell all the boys there's heaps of sea lions and there's no canoes there, and they'll just stay away, and me and Raymond can get in there and clean up the last 2 bins for the day. Yeah. Be back on the boat, like, finish by 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
You gotta be. We're the slayers on here, man. We smash it. Gotta lead by example.
With that sentiment, they haul ass into it again. Team Raymond's only rival is in the form of skipper Dwayne. He's been keeping pace, but with the weather packing in and suffering the onset of a cold, he's in less than affable spirits.
Paradise out there. About 2 metres first, big roll, no kidders. Couldn't ask for better. Man, I'm not used to this hard work. I'm used to just sitting back and chilling out. Oh well, sometimes you just gotta kick it in. Sometimes. Cold, eh? Cold day today. The old day down at Stewart Island.
While skipper Dwayne continues to moan, Team Raymond are fired up and cutting a fast track to their secret spot. A quick scout around and Raymond is happy to start. So far, there's no sign of any dangerous sea lions, but it's a deep dive to the sea floor, which might be part of the reason this is such a secret spot. Most of the divers on the San Nicolas are diving to depths of 50 to 75 feet.
Only me and Dwayne really tackle the deep stuff, so usually we have our hot spots and they're bloody loaded, so it's great. The dangers that can come working at that depth is shallow water blackout. That's probably your biggest danger. So just spending way too much time down there, getting too greedy, and the oxygen in your blood's basically become nitrogen. And from there, you can definitely just black out right before the surface. We've got too much weight on, no air in our lungs, and we can sink.
But for now, Raymond seems to be keeping things under control, and this submerged sanctuary is littered with spiky gold.
Cracked a few open, around about 10%. Pretty happy, gonna jump in there and make some money.
Just as Raymond is starting to make some progress, as he feared, a sea lion torpedoes out of the depths up to pay him a visit.
Had a bit of a run-in with a sea lion, eh? It was a female, come right up on me, eh? It's trying to come onto me. I was like, no, girl, no, get out of the way. Just trying to rake in my sea urchin, eh? Just trying to hit on me and I was like, nah, not today, not while the cameras are here, all right? So yeah, she took off and that was the last I saw of her, so it was good.
As the afternoon heads into the early evening, the weather continues to deteriorate, which is taking a toll on the teams.
It can be quite tough, especially around here. You get a lot of freshwater layer, real dark. You get down there, you know, you can just see the kinner when you get to the bottom. Most of the time, you don't get much visit at all.
And despite hitting a decent patch of sea urchin, Raymond is in full agreement with Dion about the conditions.
Terrible. I'm hating life. I'm really hating life right now.
It was real unmotivating. It was pretty cold out there. There's a lot of wind, there's a lot of chop. Just, yeah, had to keep going and do the hard yards and take the good with the bad.
It's just real cold and it's pissing down.
It's 3 p.m, which means the guys have been in their wetsuits for 8 hours now. The ship's hold is filling up, but it's a matter of whether or not the boys will have the stamina to keep going until dark and make their trip worthwhile.
So ideally you'd want 25 dough lads to actually make it worth your while. It's running this boat's not cheap, running the factory and back at home's not cheap, and paying your staff. You know, there's a lot of factors come into it.
Unfortunately for Dwayne, the chilly water is taking a toll, and the cold he felt coming on earlier is starting to restrict his ability to dive.
Starting to come down with those symptoms of a squeaky ear and blocked sinuses and achy body, you know, to stop diving, because otherwise you're just going to make it worse. And then, you know, instead of being out of the water for 2 or 3 days, you'll be out of the water for 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to split the crew up and I'll dinghy boy for Storm.
With Dwayne out of action, it's a big opportunity for Storm to step up to the plate in front of the skipper.
She's always good having the old fella as a dinghy boy. Still got plenty of energy and try to keep up with Raymond. So yeah, we'll just work to dark and see how it goes.
One final slog to the end of the day and the teams trickle back to the San Nic to unload the last of the day's catch. Dion teamed up with Rory for the last run and has raked up a decent load.
6 doe-levs today, so yeah, it's good. Hopefully make some good money today.
If the quality of Dion's urchins is high, that should make him around $1,000 for the day's work. Red Dog and Raymond aren't far behind. They hit an amazing final spot to end the day on and have some fat sea urchin to show for it.
You know that kinna's probably worth about $1.50 to me? I've got about 400 of them in there.
So I caught a total of 7 doe-levs, which is about 2.5 tonne. So had a real good day.
Last back in the fading light is young buck Storm. He's finished the day with a packed bin.
He's done very well. He's got about 5 bins. Very good for a young fella. He's almost on par with me, but not quite. He'll get there.
Did 5 doe-levs, yeah, about $800, and now it's just stoked, you know, 16-year-old making that money, it's great.
All in all, not a bad day actually. Storm picked up the slack and the other boys did real well too.
Well, end of the day, I've just had a mean shower. I'm going to have a feed, going to talk with the boys till about 9 o'clock, then I'm going to go to bed and do the whole lot again tomorrow.
Oh, big feed and have a shower and go to bed, man. That's it, that's the plan.
As it turns out, that's an excellent plan indeed, because it's the last sleep they're going to be getting for quite some time.
That's easy enough to flip over the San Nicolas. And yeah, we don't want to capsize boat in the Fovo Strait. That's happened enough.
It's day 2 on the San Nicolas in the deep south of Stewart Island. After a rough day out on the water yesterday,
Pretty cold out there. There's a lot of wind, there's a lot of chop. Just, yeah, had to keep going and do the hard yards and take the good with the bad.
the team have woken to much more agreeable conditions today. Captain Dwayne has made the call to steam 40 minutes north to a spot in Port Pegasus he knows will give a good return.
This is this area that's been dived a lot. There are sort of areas where they come back quicker than others, so if you've dived it a bit, you've got a bit more knowledge.
The crew aren't so convinced about the spot. Not that it won't yield, but more because the conditions are often rough here.
Pretty much what we're trying to do is we're all trying to talk ourselves out of diving here, pretty much.
I reckon it's good to have everyone have their say and have their ideas, but at the end of the day, you know, I make the decision because if something goes wrong, it's me that gets in trouble, I suppose. As far as anchoring up goes, it's all about keeping the big boat in a safe spot. There's no point in anchoring real close to where we're going to dive if there's 2 metre swell and lots of wind, because it's just too, you know, this is our house. You know, if you burn your house down, you've got nowhere to live.
The area that Dwayne has picked out in Port Pegasus isn't as sheltered as where they were yesterday, and if the winds pick up from the southeast, it can make for a horrid day on the water. But for now, the weather is holding, and things are looking good for diving.
I expected it to be windy as horrible, and then it actually wasn't too bad, so yeah, I'm real stoked.
While the weather might be well and good for now, the same can't be said for Dwayne. His cold has worsened, and he's again going to have to put the team first and dinghy boy for Storm.
It's a frustrating thing when you have to get out of the water because you're not feeling too well, because your body's let you down, but I've got a immune system, so I'm always pulling sickies.
Dwayne's one of the best skippers I've ever worked with. You know, he always gives us opportunities to catch more, and it's fantastic.
Dwayne's good, he's chilled. Yeah, I know he likes to work the boys. He's a hard worker himself, so you definitely can't stand around while he's working.
At least that's one thing that Dion doesn't have to worry about in the future. This is his last day as a commercial diver, which is starting to dawn on his crewmates.
Sad to see him go. He's spent the last 8 months with him. Awesome guy, you know, such a positive attitude around the boat. Yeah, so hopefully it'll be a last good one for him.
His last day it might be, but Dion is clearly going to enjoy it where he can, at the expense of Storm.
Oh, hurry up, Storm! Ah! That's cold, man!
Day in the life of an urchin diver. You're too slow, you get washed with a cold hose.
An ice-cold wake-up, and Storm's mindset seems to be back on the job at hand.
Today's main goal is to smoke Raymond and make way more money.
That's all very well in theory, but the early bird gets the worm, and as always, it's Team Raymond that are away first.
Been here at least 15 times, and I've dived this 15 times, so yeah, I know exactly where I'm going.
In true Raymond fashion, it doesn't take long for him to get stuck in. And the quality spot on.
Holy man, $100 a kilo, man. That's close to 3 bottles in there, man. $60 urchin, 60 bucks. Unreal. It feels awesome. You're seeing every kinner come up, and it's pretty literally a dollar coin for me. Almost, you know, give or take. I can only imagine what it's like for a gold miner to come across a load of gold, you know?
While Red Dog and Raymond pull golden coins from the sea floor, back on the Sand Nick, Storm and Dion have moved from shower pranks to a springboarding competition. Degree of difficulty, pretty low. With the warm-ups complete, the real competition can now get underway. While Dwayne may have found Storm a good patch of urchin, the quality is less than ideal.
Dwayne, pretty average.
Low-grade urchins are hardly worth collecting, and they certainly aren't worth wasting precious cargo space aboard the Sand Nick. Prime spots are always cause for conflict, and Red Dog is taking no prisoners when he sees Storm coming into his stomping ground.
Alright! Mollyhawks. And they just come in and jump straight on your pinch and they just catch what they can.
Wait, where have you guys been and not haven't been?
Alright, so we haven't been there, we've been there, and we've been here. And then as soon as where you guys missed over there, we got the fattest kinners for the day. These guys jumped in and then left. Like,
Because we've been before.
oh well.
Sweet as.
You get that, tell them the kinners are fat somewhere else and hopefully they off and leave us alone. Like they have.
A few minutes later, Red Dog and Raymond are back at the Sand Nick with 2 full bins. They are fizzing. The sea urchins they've found are huge.
Me and the ginger dog, we had a bloody good morning on the sea urchin. We're raking the loads of money. They're real fat, slaying all the other boys up, so really leading the charge here and setting an example. How long have we been out, Red Dog? What do you reckon?
Hour 20.
Hour 20, hour and a half. Probably made about 500 bucks in an hour and a half, so I'm f***ing wrapped, eh? It's going real good. Just got to keep up the good work, keep going hard, and just keep catching.
Coming in behind the A-team is Storm and Dwayne. So far, it's been a tough morning, and Raymond's left an open urchin on board to rub in how well he's been doing.
It's like outside. Big patches of them, but they're just full of small ones, you know, so I've got to pick through them, and it's pretty hard work, and there's split rain as well, so not the best start in the morning, but yeah, should be alright, getting better as it goes on.
Skipper Dwayne isn't exactly thriving in his role as dinghy boy today either.
It's not a prick of a job, but it's feeling like, I don't know, I'd rather been in bed all day. Someone's got to do it. Got to harden up sometimes, don't you, and just get on with it.
Dion's also not having the best of times. At this stage, his final hurrah with the boys is turning into more of a disappointed sigh.
Yeah, she was pretty slow. The wind got right up, quite tough for the dinghy boy because he kept drifting off, and the worst day of my life.
As the day progresses, the weather looks intent on worsening. With big seas predicted overnight, the race is now on to get a final few dough-labs for the day before they're forced to batten down the hatches and brave the trip home. It's a freezing afternoon in Port Pegasus, on the southern end of Stewart Island. After braving a frenzy of sharks
It was crazy. I've never seen so many sharks in one spot.
and a swanky sea lion,
Come right up on me, eh? He's trying to come onto me. I was like, no, Gil, no, get out of the way.
the crew of the San Nicolas are now making their final push to rake in a few more dollars before they're forced to steam home. Leading the charge is Team Raymond and Red Dog.
I dived here actually 8 months ago, so I knew where I was going straight away and what to look for, so I did real well.
They've hit some amazing spots and are not shy to boast about their success.
No, it's more like a chimmer, bro. Today, the size of the roe is just insane. I've never seen anything like it in a long time. Look at that. No, real boy. We didn't crack anything under that all day, and that's just fantastic, man. It's almost the size of my palm. You just don't see that nowadays. You don't see it much at all, so we're really lucky today just to get that, and I'm stoked.
What are our numbers there, Ginger Dog?
38 in.
I'm looking at all of these urchins, man, at least $1 each to me. Like, you can't beat that. I'm not even catching them, mate.
Yeah, we got a crayfish. Yeah, it's tasty tonight. I had that for dinner.
Storm and Dwayne aren't in good spirits. They're finding it hard going in the rough conditions and chilly water.
The rolling conditions make it awful to get these bins off, especially these small ones. It's pretty frustrating being on a bad patch of urchins. You know, the roads, when it's real skinny, it's worth nothing, and it's just raking in really, and we can't make any money. I'd much rather just be at school, to be honest.
All things considered, the boys are going well. Water's cold, not a lot of urchins around, so the bodies will be feeling it, they'll be getting cold.
As winter approaches, the water temperature around Stewart Island drops to as low as 8 degrees Celsius. Combine that with a southerly wind whipping straight off Antarctica, and the crew find themselves in a very inhospitable work environment.
It's a downer, eh? Especially when the clouds are around. It looks like it's about 5 o'clock and your mind's set on finishing and you've got to do another 2 dough labs. It's a feeling. A bit hard trying to find good fat urchin at the moment. It'd be good to make my last paycheck a good one. I'm going to shoot out there, try and find some more. Last couple of dough labs of the day.
As the day winds down and the temperature continues to fall, skipper Dwayne decides to move the sand nick to a more sheltered spot.
Gonna shift the boat round to the next sort of anchorage spot. It's a bit calmer and, you know, the boat's in plain view. You can see it, you don't have to, no stress, you know, just keep it all safe.
He's gonna need one final push from his crew to load the decks and make the trip worthwhile.
So Ash, it's about 3 o'clock now. We've had a little bit of weather coming through. It's actually miserable. Red Dog here's starting to get a bloody cold. He's just spewing, sitting on that dinghy. How you feeling, bud?
Yeah, let's get another bin and get the out.
This is some of the worst time of year for diving, and just have to knuckle down to do it.
Yeah, hard money, but good money! Yeah! Yeah!
Money is always a great motivator with urchin divers, and with only an hour until sunset, the crew rip into it for one last gasp.
Don't go, man. Nice fat urchins, but cold, freezing, keen to knock off. Real keen.
It's freezing cold, man. I'm shivering underwater. Urchins are real fat. It's well worth my while, but yeah, I'd rather be in warm clothes right now.
Second back is Storm. He's put in a big effort to finish off the day.
Yeah, they're all right. They weren't great, but yeah, they're better than what we had before, so it makes a good end to the day anyway.
Yeah, Storm did good. He's a trooper, just gets in the water and keeps going, so it's good having young guys that are really keen and want to prove themselves.
Storm pulled in 9 dough labs for the trip, which will earn him around $1,500, an exceptional amount of money for a 16-year-old, which has got him wondering about his future career options.
My friend Raymond right here, he's a case in point, right? He dropped out of school, 16, went canna diving. Now look at him go, the bloody best canna diver I know, just slaying it, making a ton of money and having a great time, you know? Didn't go to university, got no qualifications. And look at him.
Total number for me this trip's 13, so I'm wrapped as. The unlucky number, but she's loaded with money. Unlucky number 13, should have got 14, I just don't like leaving it on the 13. They teach you that in school. Oh wait, you don't spend enough time there to know that. Get out of the way.
Unlucky number 13 for Raymond it may be, but for skipper Dwayne, it's music to his ears.
Yeah, boys have done really well actually on the urchin this trip. It's surprised me how well the boys have done actually. I haven't done a count up yet, but I think it's about 37 dough labs, which is, yeah, it's a good haul. But, you know, it's all to do with the markets. We could go and get 36 or 37 every time, but we wouldn't be able to sell them all. But at the moment we can, so makes it good.
Pulling in fat sea urchin is one thing, keeping them fresh is another. The last job of the day is loading the final dough labs and securing them for the steam home. With bad weather predicted across Fovo Strait, it's integral that this is completed with great care and precision.
Got to make sure we keep these urchins out of the wind and the rain on the trip home because that's the worst thing for them. We'll pick up the anchor and head home. It'll be a 9-hour steam or so and then unload, 3 o'clock in the morning.
As the San Nicolas steams out of Port Pegasus towards Bluff, Dion has a chance to reflect on his last trip with the crew.
Not too bad of a day. Wrapped it up in the end with quite a bit of fat urchin. Make a bit of money for the last couple of dough labs of the day. Mixed emotions, eh? I'm out of here. Nah, it's been good working with the boys. Yeah, hopefully they can cope without me. They're real good. Yeah, hopefully I'm back in a couple more seasons.
Although Storm would love to take Dion's place as a full-time crew member, tomorrow is Monday, which means school.
Just catching up on a bit of schoolwork, you know, with all this diving, you know, still got to get the education, so just trying to finish off a piece of media studies, making a short film and just running up the plot here, so we'll just keep going on that.
It's a different story altogether up in the wheelhouse. Dwayne is hearing a little more about the bad weather they're due to hit in a few hours.
Good evening, this is Bass Fisherman's Radio, standing by. Heavy southwest swell, easing for a time.
By the sounds of things, that's a lot worse than he first expected.
Fovo Strait here, which is between Stewart Island and Bluff, and because it's shallow and it's got quite a lot of push through it, it banks up and gets quite steep and nasty, but it's not too bad. I think we've got about 4 metres in the strait, about 30 odd knots, so yeah, got a good boat.
While Dwayne might be playing it cool, his crew know what a rough night crossing Fovo Strait can be like.
Oh mate, it's going to be absolute hey, we've got about 30-40 knots of westerly coming through and yeah, it's got a 2 metre, 3 metre roll out there, so I'm really not looking forward to it.
You get pretty patchy sleep really, you know, you're tossing and turning, sometimes even fly to your bunk if it's that bad.
As it turns out, Storm couldn't have said it better. 3 hours later, and the San Nic plows straight into the face of nature's fury.
So we've just come around the corner of Breaksea Islands. The weather's come out of nowhere. Waves are quite a lot bigger and sharper than I thought they were going to be. Things could get quite interesting.
The crew of the San Nicolas set off from Stewart Island at 6 p.m, fully loaded down with tens of thousands of dollars worth of sea urchins.
Got to make sure we keep these urchins out of the wind and the rain on the trip home because that's the worst thing for them.
Despite the warning of high seas expected for the crossing,
Fisherman's Radio, heavy southwest swell, easing for a time.
Captain Dwayne didn't seem worried at all.
I think we've got about 4 metres in the strait, about 30 odd knots, so yeah, got a good boat.
A few hours later, as the San Nic steams around Breaksea Island into Fovo Strait, that attitude is all of a sudden being put to the test. The infamous and powerful waters of the strait have erupted, meeting the San Nic head on.
The situation here is we've got quite a lot of weight up the front of the boat and it's causing the nose to dig in a bit with these short, sharp waves, which is not ideal in a boating situation.
Manning the wheelhouse is Dwayne and Red Dog, and as the seas batter the San Nic, they notice the tie-downs or strops holding the doughlab secure have come loose from the impact of the waves.
It was just so gnarly that 2.5 ton strops were just flexing about 1 metre. But boom! Smashed it into the side of the boat as we're rolling side to side.
You can't have weight slipping from side to side on a boat. You know, if you've got a boat sitting there and you've got all of a sudden 3 tonne pushing it that way, it's like an extra, and then 3 tonne pushing it that way.
Starts doing a wee bit of a dance and you're freaking out like, there's our catch about to go over the side, what's going on?
We didn't have time to go and wake up all the boys and muster everyone up. It was just, we're here, let's get the job done, and gradually people woke up and saw what was going on.
You could hear the boys upstairs, so I raced upstairs in my underwear, just straight out of bed, and saw Dwayne was in his wet weather gear, so he jumped outside and I jumped on the wheel.
We just had to dive into it.
We had to keep ploughing into these waves until we get a lull, and then we'll turn side on and turn with it.
Turned the wheel hard to port, gave it absolute arsehole to get the boat going with the wind and the waves and the tide.
Turning the San Nic side onto the waves is extremely dangerous, but an imperative move if the crew are going to have a chance to resecure their precious cargo of urchins.
You know, a couple of those bins were to fall off onto the port-hand side of the boat, and we did cop a wave over our starboard. It's easy enough to flip over the San Nicolas. And yeah, we don't want to capsize boat in the Fovo Strait. That's happened enough.
Completing the turn and now heading with the waves, the crew can get to work.
As soon as that rocking motion stopped, they have the ability to strop those bins down real well.
It doesn't take long for the entire crew to get wind of what is going on and jump into action.
I heard all the boys get up and I seen Dwayne and Red Dog out on deck and the boat was just going crazy, eh?
The crew worked frantically repositioning the dolabs and then adding extra tarps and tie-downs. A dangerous task in rough water, but the crew know the job and have the situation under control in a matter of minutes.
You're the man, Red Dog. Cheers, bro. Yeah, that just someone who knew what they were up to was up awake and could see it coming, so pull the hammer back, pull the throttle back, get out there and just sort it out as quick as you can. Don't around, that's how someone gets hurt, so yeah.
Crisis averted. Dwayne redirects the bow of the San Nic back into the waves and guns it for home.
Just another day in the life of a fisherman, being prepared for scenarios that just appear and dealing with it.
Four hours of weathering the storm later, and the bright lights of Bluff greet the crew of the San Nic a little before 3 a.m.
So that was a pretty interesting trip home. We didn't bank on it getting that exciting, but back at port now, and we just got to unload all the urchins and get them off to the factory, and then we're going to clean the boat up and get home.
No matter what time of day the boat comes in, the urchins are immediately unloaded and taken to the factory to be processed. For a crew that's barely slept in the last 24 hours, it's the last thing they want to be doing.
It usually takes anywhere from 45 minutes to about an hour and a half to get the kinners off, and then we've got to scrub the boat down and stuff. So usually we're tied up after about 2 hours it takes to unload the boat.
It's a pain in the ass, it's very tiring, but you just get in and get the job done so you can go home and go to bed.
The sooner they are processed, the better, as urchin roe quality drops the longer they are out of the water.
Quality is money, less quality, less money. You got to feed the market. It's a hungry feed it.
As the ship is unloaded, the final tallies can be counted. Considering the quality of the urchins collected on this trip, the numbers are high. Leading the way with 13 dolabs is Team Raymond, earning a whopping $2,600 for 2 days' work.
Yeah, I'm bloody wrapped with that. 2 days work, 13 dolabs, stoked ass.
Just a little behind the pace of his mentor was Storm, with 9 dolabs making him $1,500 for the weekend. Pretty good pocket money for a 16-year-old. And on his final trip, Team Dion's 11 dolabs earned him $2,100. Not a bad note to leave the industry on. A hard trip all round, but a productive one, and the captain is chuffed with the efforts of his crew.
Considering the circumstances and considering where we went, the boys did well, made it worthwhile. We've come back with enough product to pay for the trip and keep the markets going.
Next time on Spiky Gold Hunters, the drama starts from the get-go.
Saw a whole lot of smoke coming out of the motor. Thought to myself, this isn't ideal.
And with winter conditions setting in,
Oh, I'm just so cold, bro. Just jump in the shower to warm up my hands, eh?
the crew face their most challenging expedition to date.